In today's video, we're going to recap the 2016 movie titled The Founder. Based on a true-life story, the movie follows the life of a small businessman, Ray Kroc, and how he helped two brothers with a big idea to create the multi-billion-dollar fast food chain that we all know as McDonald's today. The story begins in the year 1954 with the 52-year-old traveling milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc. He owns a small but relatively successful business selling paper cups and milkshake machines. The latest production at the time is the 5-spindle milkshake machine that would produce even more milkshakes at a given time. One day, he receives a call from his secretary, Drew Martino, informing him that a new restaurant called McDonald's in San Bernardino ordered 8 of his new mixers. Ray does the math and is astonished because that would produce 40 milkshakes in a single run. The entire thing seems too good to be true because he'd been struggling to sell his single-spindle mixers, and suddenly a restaurant far away wanted 8 of his new machines. He wonders what kind of restaurant would have to serve that many customers, so he decides to drive down to San Bernardino to see things for himself. When Ray arrives at the restaurant, he's not impressed initially because he sees just a single small building. However, this changes very quickly because in a matter of moments, cars start piling up in the lot and the customers begin to line up. Ray notices how quickly the customers get their food, and judging by the long queues, the idea of needing 8 mixers no longer feels far-fetched. Ray joins the lines to speak with some of the customers, and they reveal how much they love the local restaurant because they get their hamburgers at very low cost and in a matter of seconds. Afterward, he goes over to the brothers who own the restaurant, Dick and Mac McDonald's, and introduces himself as the mixer seller before inviting them to dinner to hear their story. The brothers tell him how they started as the average American fast food restaurant. However, when they noticed that the process was slow and that they weren't making much profit, they decided to reevaluate the situation and come up with a remodeling of their system. They took a big gamble and shut down the business temporarily for innovations. However, when they reopened, they had come up with a new idea to sell only what the people wanted the most, which were burgers, fries, sodas, and milkshakes. Initially, the customers didn't like the fact that they'd have to walk down from the cars and line up, but thanks to the brothers' speedy system, it didn't take long before everyone fell in love with the fast food restaurant. After hearing the story, Ray Kroc is immediately intrigued by their innovation. The next morning, he wakes up feeling restless because he knows there's something he has to do with the McDonald's brothers. The opportunity is glaring at him, and so he finally makes up his mind to meet them and pitch his idea: franchise. That's the word he hammers on. Kroc tells the brothers that their business is a gold mine waiting to be tapped if only they would expand all over the country. To him, it's a win-win, because the more restaurants they open, the more mixers he can sell, and over time, they'll all become very rich. Unfortunately, the brothers aren't interested because they'd already tried branching out before and it was a disaster. They point out how difficult it is to manage multiple branches from afar, but Ray insists that they just try again and learn from the previous mistakes. Dick and Mac tell him that they're more concerned with making their only branch the best it can be, but Kroc isn't going to let the opportunity to make even more money slip out of his hands. After constant persuasion, the brothers finally give in and grant him access to the second McDonald's restaurant where Kroc would begin building an empire. From there, Kroc is made the foreman for the McDonald's franchise experiment, and he begins to think of new ways to make the company better. He and the brothers sign a contract stating that all changes to the restaurant buildings, systems, or menus must be approved by them first, and that he would earn 1.9% of the gross profit, which would later be reduced to 1.4%. Afterward, Kroc takes a big gamble and banks his entire life savings, failing marriage, and even the mortgage of his house on the success of the McDonald's franchise. He then builds a McDonald's restaurant in Des Plaines and hopes to slowly expand from there. In 1955, he runs into a man named Harry Sunborn at the bank. Harry was the vice president of an ice cream company called Tasty Freeze and had previously bought mixers from Kroc. Seeing the potential in the franchise business, Harry quits his former job and Ray hires him. The two team up and create what they called the Franchise Realty Corporation, a company that would help the McDonald's brothers get new locations to set up new restaurants. This system allows them to quickly obtain land and investments from franchisees to help them expand faster and make a lot more money in the process. In a very short time, the team opens many more restaurants all over the country, and even with Kroc's 1.4% of the profits, he earns enough money to reinvest in the company and open even more branches. With Harry's financial planning and Kroc's ambition to expand as much as possible, the two go on to create the founding blocks of the multi-billion-dollar corporation. However, Kroc realizes that he still needs to make sure every single branch is up to the standard. It doesn't take long before he encounters the same poor management the McDonald's brothers faced when they first tried to expand. At this point, the brothers threaten to pull out of the franchising business because there's no way to supervise quality control in the many branches. Kroc fears that if this goes on, it would destroy the empire he has worked so hard to build, so he comes up with a plan. In 1961, Kroc and a man named Fred Turner create a course called the Hamburger University in the basement of one of the restaurants. Turner was one of the cooks in McDonald's, but thanks to his hard work and ambition, he quickly rose to the ranks and joined Kroc in the Realty Corporation. The two create the Hamburger University, which is a course to teach all the franchisees all over the country how to properly manage the McDonald's menus and everything concerning the restaurant's running system. This system proves to be a huge success because shortly after the course, all of the branches begin to meet the standard, and as a result, every single McDonald's restaurant serves the same high-quality food. Soon, Kroc remodels his branch in Des Plaines because he sees it as some sort of separate entity from the other branches. So much so that he renames it McDonald's No. 1, but this doesn't sit well with the brothers when they find out. Despite this, Kroc's ambition doesn't falter in the slightest, and he goes on to invest all of his time and money in the business, which causes a strain in his marriage. Not long after that, he falls in love with another woman named Joan, who's married at the time. Joan and her husband, Raleigh Smith, express their interest to become franchisees and open a McDonald's restaurant, so Kroc welcomes them into the game. He then divorces his wife, Ethel, refusing to give her a single share of stock in the McDonald's company and leaving her with only his assets and insurance. Afterward, he encourages Joan to do the same, but she insinuates that he waits a little longer for her. With the massive success of the franchise business, Kroc's ego starts to get in the way, and he no longer likes the idea of the brothers having all the control. One time, Joan even suggests an Instamix powder to help them save cost on their milkshake production while allegedly providing the same quality, but when Kroc tells the brothers about it, they oppose the idea. Later, Harry suggests that they incorporate real estate into their franchise to make more profit. The business move is a success, and soon Kroc begins opening more restaurants without the brothers' approval, and sure enough, this makes them very annoyed. When they remind him of the contract he signed, Kroc reveals that he's done being their subordinate. Ray Kroc later changes the name of the company to the McDonald's Corporation. He also demands to be released from his contract, telling the McDonald's brothers that he wants to buy them out of the company. Unfortunately, when Mac hears the news, he goes into diabetic shock. Later, Kroc visits Mac in the hospital and offers to settle their dispute with a blank check. The brothers would eventually accept a $2.7 million lump sum payment at the time, ownership of their original restaurant in San Bernardino, and a 1% annual royalty. Kroc agrees, but later refuses to include the royalty in the settlement when they're about to seal the deal. Instead, he offers it as a handshake. Afterward, Dick McDonald confronts Kroc and asks why he had to take over their business when he could have simply stolen their idea and recreated it. Kroc tells Dick that McDonald's true value is its name, which represents what American people are known for. After selling their shares in the company, the brothers lose the rights to the McDonald's name and are forced to change the name of the original restaurant in San Bernardino. Kroc displays sheer pettiness when he opens a new McDonald's franchise directly across the street from them, and it doesn't take long before he puts them out of business. Later, Kroc marries Joan Smith after she finally divorces Raleigh Smith. In the year 1970, Ray Kroc prepares a speech for the governor of California and copies a motivational speech he heard in the past. During the speech, Kroc credits himself for his success, which he claims he attained not through talent or education, but through persistence. In the end, we see that Ray Kroc never paid the McDonald's brothers their royalties, a sum that would be around $100 million annually in today's money. Sure, it seems like Kroc swindled the brothers, but there's no doubt that it was his work and doggedness that transformed the small fast food restaurant into the multi-billion-dollar franchise it is today. Even after he died in 1984, Kroc's controversial legacy as the founder lives on, and McDonald's now feeds approximately 1% of the world's population every single day. That's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. To see more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.